Massive news in English rugby as it is confirmed today that Worcester Warriors will be returning to the English rugby club system. They will be returning into the Championship, England's second tier of club rugby. And yes, it'll be a revamped championship with 14 teams, which is being expanded from the current 12. Yeah, it's massive news. It's hugely exciting news. And let's get into it. Now for this video, I'm going to be focusing on the situation around Worcester. If you want to hear more about my opinions on should teams be allowed to go straight back into the Championship, do watch my video up here. If you're watching this within the first hour or two, it's out. It won't be here yet, but hopefully I'll edit in this card and you can watch that video there. Now we all know it's been rugby's worst kept secret that they want to expand the Championship next year to 14 teams and get back to the likes of Worcester Warriors as well as Wasps and London Irish. But Worcester are well ahead of the other two in sort of returning. So they have been confirmed that they will be in the Championship next season. Worcester Warriors originally went bust around October 2022, so it's been about 2.5 years now, and they owed back $6 million to its creditors. Now, as part of the deal to join the Championship next season, an expanded Championship, they have agreed to pay off those $6 million in creditors, and they've agreed to do it by the end of 2025 as well. So that is very interesting. Now, the fact that they have approved the sort of Worcester to come back and sort of looked at the financial planning, they must have the money to pay back those creditors. So that's a positive thing. I know a lot of people will feel aggrieved that Worcester Warriors are allowed back into the Championship straight away, but at least they're not costing those people any more money. They are going to receive their money back, which they are owed from 2 or 3 years ago, or even longer. So that is ultimately a positive thing for everyone, that they will get paid back. Now this article I'm about to put up on the screen is from BBC Sport. You can find it on their website. Yes, Christopher John Holland, the new Worcester Warriors owner, has said, had we opted to restart at the bottom of the rugby pyramid, as others have done before us, the obligation to settle rugby creditors would have been removed. After careful consideration, we chose to make the application to the new league under the name Worcester Warriors, a club founded in 1871 to preserve its history and legacy. As a result, even though we applied as a new non-league entrant, we are required to settle rugby creditors as defined by the RFU Registration 5. We acknowledge and fully own this process and the responsibility that comes with it. We've taken full responsibility for addressing these inherited obligations. So as you can see, this is a good thing for those creditors. They're going to get paid back, and the owner, Christopher John Holland, believes he can pay this. And guys, if you have got this far through the video, please do consider subscribing, because I'll be producing more rugby news like this and talking about my opinions on just English rugby matters and the Championship, leagues below that, the Premiership of course, and how all the promotion relegation between them is happening. So please do consider liking and subscribing. Also, lots of rugby content from outside of England will be coming. But something we must know about Christopher John Holland is that he was a non-exec director for 5 years at Wasps, and then he was the chief operating officer at Wasps for the last year before they went under. So that is something to bear in mind that isn't super fantastic about this situation. However, being a non-exec director, you don't have complete control of what's going on at the club. Chief operating officer, you're not, for the last year, from what I can tell, the Wasps finances were, let's just put like in a mess way before 1 year before they went under, and it's amazing they stayed afloat as long as they did. So I'm going to look at that positively and say that's not down to him so much. But another thing to note is that he's also the Wasps chairman now. So obviously he bought the Wasps assets and name and brand or whatever when they went under. So he is the chairman now. He will have to relinquish control of Wasps or Worcester Warriors should they both play in the Championship eventually. So when Wasps are ready, for me they're still a good 2-3 years minimum away from coming back from what I can hear. But should they come back into the Championship, Christopher John Holland will have to sell one of these two clubs. And from the sounds of it, why would you sell Worcester Warriors? Because they've got a huge financial plan in place to sort of make this sustainable. As you can see on the screen here, Junction 6 Limited, who is solely owned by Christopher John Holland, have assumed control of Warriors and have announced plans to increase the capacity at Sixway Stadium alongside a new hotel, multi-storey car park, a golf driving range and a solar farm. Now this is very sensible because we are seeing that clubs whatever league they're in or sport they're in, sports clubs need to sort of make the most of their stadium. They can't just use it for 10 match days a year, whatever it is, 20 match days a year. They need to make revenue from their stadium year round. You're seeing like at Tottenham, they've got sort of guided tours and sort of go-karting beneath and lots of stuff. They go do that cheese making thing. I don't know if that's a thing, but clubs need to make the use of their stadiums. So having a hotel and a golf driving range and a multi-storey car park, these are all fantastic long-term money-making solutions for Worcester Warriors as well as the rugby side. So this, for me, is very promising. This is the Sixthway Stadium as it currently is. As you can see, it's just taken from Google Earth. You can see the north stand there is more of a temporary stand, sort of maybe 1,000 seats or so there. So it's a simple structure which can easily be taken down and changed. If you want, here's another photo of it, a sort of more real life photo. And compared to the rest of the stadium here, it is, as you can see, a lot more temporary and you can take it down quite easily. So that is what they're going to redevelop. As you can see from this TikTok, this is Worcester Warriors TikTok. They are taking down the stadium right now, or the north stand, I should say, right now. And go follow Worcester Warriors Instagram and TikTok as well. By the way, they're going to be posting lots of updates about how the club is going, how the stadium development is going. So if you want to see more of that, go follow them. And then this is another screen grab from Google Earth of the Sixthway Stadium site, the sort of wider site. You'd assume that this area to the north of the stadium is where they would build a multi-storey car park and the hotel and any sort of golf driving range. I don't know if it would just be on the current car park above that roundabout, or if it's going to be sort of on some of those football and rugby pitches you see surrounding the site. But that is where I guess they're going to do most of the redevelopment to build more assets for Worcester Warriors, so they have other income streams, revenue streams for the club. And this is great because it will make and keep them hopefully financially sustainable forever going forward. And that's what rugby clubs need to do. Now we must remember there has been COVID in the last 5 years. 3 Premiership clubs have gone bust, as well as Jersey Reds, who won the championship in that year. They have gone. It's sort of Bill Sweeney's been under huge pressure. England Rugby has been getting loads of negative articles. All this sort of stuff has been going around. The RFU and the new Tier 2 board and the RFU Council will not allow Worcester Warriors to come back if they do not completely agree and see that there's financial sustainability, because the RFU in English rugby has been shocked to its core in the last 5 years. This must be a solid financial plan to guarantee those creditors get paid back and Worcester Warriors will be financially sustainable in the championship, let alone a premiership down the line. So I am pretty confident this will be all good. This will go well in the next 2 years. I believe Worcester Warriors will have sustainable financial plans going forward. It's also understood, as you can see from the BBC report, that Worcester Warriors will get a new logo and a resurfaced artificial pitch. Now, the pitch, we've seen plenty of artificial pitches in the Premiership and the Championship, the likes of Gloucester, Saracens, Newcastle Falcons, Coventry, Ealing. There are artificial pitches everywhere in these leagues. And if it's going to help, have other teams play there, it's like a women's team eventually playing there again, and it makes the sort of maintenance costs lower. I think it's a great sacrifice to make. I mean, obviously you'd rather have a real grass pitch, but if it's needed, make it happen. And then a new logo. I mean, this is the current Worcester Warriors logo. I think it could do with a bit of updating, to be fair. So these sound like good improvements going forward for Worcester. And there's already been a bit of talk about who will be joining the club as sort of a coach, head coach, and also who's going to be in the squad. It already seems like Matt Everhard, who has just recently left his role at Leicester Tigers. He was a defence coach, and he's been there for over 3 years now. So it sounds like he might be coming in potentially as Worcester Warriors' new head coach from next season. He's also been talking to Josh Bassett, it seems, who's a winger at Leicester Tigers, of course. He's been there for a couple of years. Obviously, he's been at Wasps and Harlequins before. So Josh Bassett might be going down to the Championship to play for Worcester. And Nick Shonert, who's been at Worcester Warriors for 7 years before he left for Sale Sharks. He has recently been released from Sale because of injury, long-term injury sort of problems he's had. He's played 1 game against Newcastle, I think, in the Prem Cup. So he might be coming back to Worcester. So already 3 big names associated with the squad. And I already know that Worcester Warriors have been going around to championship clubs and probably premiership clubs, but championship clubs, and making offers. So that is the one thing that it could harm championship clubs. They might take a few players, because it's a great prospect to go and play for what was an established premiership side for 6 years. If you're at a lesser championship club who's just come up in the last 2 or 3 years, the chance to play for a new Worcester Warriors is very attractive. So that might be the negative for Worcester Warriors coming back. They might take a few players from other championship squads, and there's also the thing that they might eventually get promoted ahead of the likes of Ealing, who have been knocking on the door for 2 or 3 years now. So is that fair? But, you know, I think promotion to the Premiership is still a long way away for Worcester Warriors. They need to just establish themselves back in the Championship first. And talking about the Championship, it will be expanded to 14 teams. As I said earlier, the top team in National League One will be promoted this season. That's looking like, as you can see from this screen grab here, Richmond. You can find this table on the England RFU website. But yes, Richmond look like they will be promoted this season. That's not a done deal, because they still have to play Rotherham in second, and they still have to play another couple of teams in the top 5. But they are likely to be the team that goes up. And no team will get relegated from the Championship, as you can see from this screen grab. That is currently Cambridge at the bottom, but there's still nearly 8 or 10 rounds to go in the Championship, so that could easily change. But it doesn't matter, because neither team will be relegated. So it will just be Richmond likely coming up, and then Worcester Warriors coming in to make it 14 teams next season. But ultimately, this is a great addition for the Championship in a way, and definitely English rugby, because it is another established big club in England which is making a return. You know, just before they went under in 2021-2022, when they played the whole season in the Premiership, they averaged just under 7,000 people a game. That is massive compared to some other rugby clubs in the Championship. Like, it's way bigger than other rugby clubs in the Championship. So I don't think England can afford to just lose that sort of fan base. And that was after COVID, 7,000 a game. If you go to the Premiership seasons just before COVID, it was 8,500 in the season which ended. So 2019-2020, the one ended by COVID. The one season before that, 2018-2019, when they had the whole season, it was just over 8,000. So yeah, that is huge attendances. Now, they won't get all that in the Championship. I can tell you the last season they were in the Championship was 2014-2015, and they got nearly 6,000 per game, each week at Six Ways then. Obviously, it's been 3 years the fan base had lost some momentum. They might lose some people who won't come back. It's the Championship. But I'd expect even them, if they get half of that, about 3,000 people, that makes them the top attended team alongside Coventry and Bedford. So either way, it's a great addition to the Championship. It's a historic club with lots of fans. And the real positive is that it could draw fans to the other team's grounds. If Worcester Warriors are visiting, I don't know, Doncaster Knights, you might get an extra 400 people that week at Doncaster Knights. And it's just another game for revenue for these Championship clubs. So overall, I think it will be a good move to have Worcester Warriors back in the Championship. But yes, that pretty much sums up most of the sort of situation around Worcester Warriors. I'm just going to talk about it from my own point of view. I just think it's a fantastic opportunity for English rugby to have the return of one of the big clubs in England. Obviously, it's not like a top 10 club, but you need those clubs from sort of 11th to 20th in the English pyramid, and we've lost a couple of those. So I think it's fantastic that Worcester are coming back. It's going to improve the Championship, I think, long term. And it's just nice to see a club returning, because it's still 8,000 people a week who will get their club back, which is always fantastic news, whether it's at the 10th league or the 2nd league. So overall, it is a positive. And yeah, if you've got this far through the video, I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe. I will be doing more videos like this on lower league English teams or the Championship, the Premiership, promotion, relegation, rugby news. Please do subscribe if you want to see more like this. Like the video if you've got this far as well, please. I really appreciate that. And hopefully I will see you in the next one. And also check out the other video I'm going to do very shortly, which will probably be out by the time you watch this, is should teams be allowed back in the Championship? So yeah, I'll explaining my thoughts on this topic. But yes, thank you for watching, and please like and subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.